Well, hi everyone, and welcome to my first question and answer session. Before I begin, I'm going to give you a little update about what's going on in my life right now. Well, not much. I just started school again, which is basically just one class I'm taking right now. Um, and I'm about to begin my master's thesis research. Um, I got the second class for this new course I'm taking called machine learning. I think it's shaping up to be pretty interesting. Apart from that, I went out last Friday with a friend. She told me we were going to this drag queen bar called Cleopatra here in Montreal, and that we were going to assist to the finale of some beauty contest. And we got there, and there were a lot of people in latex and leather and stuff. And apparently, she was mistaken. The beauty contest was the previous day, and that Friday night was fetish night. So I basically asked her, if she could drive me back here so I could change in a more appropriate outfit. And I just so happened to have this dress that's like gothic Lolita fashion, which is apparently very popular in Japan, and I thought it would kind of fit with the fetish night theme. So I went there dressed in that very extravagant outfit, and people gave me actually some very positive comments about my looks. It was quite interesting. I think I'm getting a bit more confident as far as going out goes. Um, I'm not really stressed about doing it anymore, but I still don't feel fully confident about going full time. It's going to take me a little bit, but I'm taking some steps, to feminize my appearance further. Um, just this next Thursday, I'm going to see my hairdresser, and I'm going to ask him to make my hair more wavy. I'm hoping it will give me a more feminine look, and it's also, I'm getting bored of having, plain straight hair, so I want to try something different for once, and we'll see how that looks on me. So yeah, that's it. Things are going pretty slowly right now. Um, yes, I don't know if I told you that, but I just recently switched also to 4 milligrams of estrogen instead of 8 milligrams, and so far it seems I've been feeling better. I'm a bit more energetic, but I'm having some digestion problems these days, and I don't know if it's because of a virus or if the hormones are somehow doing that. But at least I'm not feeling depressed. I'm not feeling super tired, so things are going good so far, and I'm going to see how my feminization progresses in the next few months. So that's it. So now onto the questions. Unfortunately, I didn't get many questions, but I think it's going to be interesting to answer those that you sent to me. So yes, let me begin by this one. Okay, so this person asked me, are you worried that your girlfriend will leave you since you will not satisfy her in that way that you satisfied her while you were a man? Or are you going to keep your penis? Um, well, am I worried that my girlfriend will leave me since I'm not satisfying her in a manly way? That's a kind of strange question. I think there's many reasons for a couple to break up, but I don't think that um, sexual satisfaction will be one in my case. If I ever split up with my girlfriend, I think it's going to be because we don't understand each other, or there's some more profound issues at play here. But sexually speaking, I've been working pretty hard, to keep my sex drive alive and find other ways to satisfy my girlfriend if and when needed. But like I said before in other blogs, I'm not really shy, but when it comes to talking about these things, we still have, regular vaginal sex. And yes, for the moment, I am keeping my male genitalia. I want to live full time for at least, 2 years before I seriously consider sexual reassignment. So for now, it's not even a real question, because I'm still as before, and I'm still functional and everything. That being said, I know there's a lot of relationships that get broken by transition, because transition is is a phase in your life where you change very rapidly, and sometimes your partner can't adapt to that. But I think, communication can get you a very long way. And this is my first relationship ever with anybody. She's my first girlfriend, and so far it's been going great. We've been together for over 9 months now, and we're going to, I hope, get to at least the 1 year mark and possibly longer. But so far things are going pretty well, and our sex life is going well too. Thank you. So yeah, but still, an interesting question to ask. I do think that when you are transitioning, you have to pay attention to your sex life as well. If you have a partner, and you feel your sex drive is reduced by hormones, and maybe you should reconsider your choice of hormones and perhaps explore different areas of your sexuality to try to keep the sex life alive. Because it's important in a relationship. I personally don't really believe in platonic love. I don't think that love without any sex is really possible. I think it's an essential component in keeping love life alive. So yeah, you should try to adapt. Okay, so now moving on to the next question here. Can you speak a little French for us, or teach us some French-Canadian bad words? I'm going to post a link to some French-Canadian bad words. Actually, most of the French-Canadian bad words here are based kind of on profanity, so church words that are misused and that have acquired some kind of negative connotation over time. Apart from that, we have just the regular translations of English bad words, or words that are kind of similar to just, regular French insults. Like, idiot or asshole would be like connard in French. That's like, just like idiot. And, yeah, son of a bitch is in French is more like fils de pute, which means son of a whore in French. And there's other ones like that. You have enculé, which is kind of the equivalent of motherfucker, but it actually means sodomized. So like somebody who has been sodomized. It's like an insult in French, which people use pretty regularly in France, not so much here in Quebec, but it still is insulting here too. So yeah, I'm sure you can look up French-Canadian insults on your own if you want to find out more about this really interesting topic. Okay, on to the next question. Well, this one is added by me. Nobody asked me this specifically in the context of this question and answer session, but it's a question that comes up often. People ask me often, where can I get hormones, or what are the best hormones, etc. Okay, so where can you get hormones? Well, that depends. If you're in the US, you can very easily order them online, even without a prescription. There's many of these so-called online pharmacies that will ship you medication, that anything you want pretty much, even without a prescription, and they don't stop it at the border. If you're in another country, it may be more complicated. Here in Canada, they do sometimes search packages. I have ordered hormones online before, and sometimes they made it, and other time, they got confiscated at the border. So yeah, that's like the least favorite way maybe of getting hormones. You ideally should get them through a doctor. You should get a prescription. You don't necessarily have to see a gender therapist to get hormones. You can go see an endocrinologist directly, or even do like I did, go see a generalist, and ask him if he's willing to prescribe you hormones. You have to explain why you need them first, of course, but it's very possible to get them without having to go through the whole seeing a therapist thing for years. As far as what are the best hormones, that depends. There's many options. Hormones, as far as male to female transition, come in 3 varieties, estrogens, progesterone, and anti-androgens. As far as anti-androgens go, I would say the best one is probably the one I'm using now, which is Casodex. It's a very new one and has very little side effects. You can take a very low dose. So it has a very long half-life, so the dosage is very stable over time. Even if you miss a day accidentally, it's not so bad. It's very expensive, but I take myself a quarter pill a day, and I know that some people take even a quarter pill every 2 days because the half-life of this medication is almost a week. As far as estrogens go, the best option is by injections. It's the safest as far as blood clots go and as far as your liver is concerned, and it's also the most effective. That being said, it's not always possible to get injections. Here in Quebec, I haven't been able to get them prescribed, haven't been able to find a legal supplier for this, but they're fairly easy to get online. The next best thing would be maybe hormones through gel. I can get that here, but it's very expensive. There's also patches. And then there's the pills. The best pills are probably estradiol, so you have brand names like Estrace or Estrofem. This is the least dangerous one in terms of pills, I believe. It's less risky than Premarin, is also more efficient. The worst pill that you could get is ethinyl estradiol. That's the most dangerous. It's the kind of formulation that's in many birth control pills. It's much more dangerous in terms of blood clot and much worse for your liver also. So don't take that also. If you're thinking of taking birth control pills for feminization, forget it. They don't work. They don't have any effect because the estrogen dosage in birth control pills is tiny. It's like 100 of what you'll find in a normal, MTF transition dosage. So it's not even worth trying. I have to say also, herbal hormones are crap. They have no effect. And contrary to what some of you may think, even though they're herbal, even though they're plants, they can be much more dangerous to your liver than pills. So you should probably look into getting real hormones and doing things properly if you want to transition. Don't mess around with herbal hormones. Don't mess around with birth control pills. Don't steal hormones from anyone. Don't do any stupid things. And finally, I'm going to end this little segment by saying, if you want to get more information about hormones, there's this Yahoo group called TS Do It Yourself Hormones, and I'll put a link to this one too. It's probably the best source on the internet for transsexual transition and hormones. You should, if you're interested in transitioning, you're seriously considering this, make an account there, and you can search all the posts there. There's many active members, so you should be able to find answers through there, hopefully. They also have links to many online pharmacies, and recommendations as far as the choice of hormones go and everything. So hopefully that'll be helpful to you. Okay, next question on my list. Okay, somebody asked me, I watched in the story of a trans woman who said that before she was on hormones, she was attracted to women, but after hormones, she was attracted to men. My question is, have you ever been attracted to men, either sexually or emotionally? If yes, do you think it's because of the hormones? Well, this is a fairly common thing. People changing sexual orientation after hormones. As you know, hormones strongly affect your sex drive. And, I would even go as far as saying that hormones cause your sex drive. I don't know about you people, but when I was a kid, when I was like 5 or 6, I had no sex drive, I didn't understand why adults kissed on TV. I found that it was gross, it was unhygienic. It's the thing that you shouldn't do. You shouldn't put foreign things in your mouth. You shouldn't eat other people's saliva. So why are people doing this? Why are people bothering with sex? Why is it so important? But then as soon as I reached puberty and I got a lot of testosterone in my body, I started having a raging sex drive like never before. So sex drive comes with puberty, just like all the other sexual characteristics. I personally consider sex drive to be a secondary sexual characteristic, just like body hair or everything else that comes with puberty. So yeah, have I ever been attracted to men? Well, personally, um, I've always been fairly strongly attracted to women, um, and never really to men before the hormones. When I started the hormones, I started getting different fantasies, though sometimes involving men, and I've been, becoming somewhat curious, about, wow, maybe I should try to have sex with a man at some point. Um, it's never really been stronger than that, though. I've never had, a real desire of actually being with a man. I don't feel turned on by seeing a man's body on TV, or, well, pretty rarely, maybe sometimes. But I will say that, what turns me on right now is much more diverse than before. Like, now I can watch an episode of Queer as Folk with my girlfriend, and there will be, some gay sex scenes in that series. For those of you who don't know, it's like the gay version of the L word. My girlfriend loves it, and I can be turned on even watching two men kissing, which just wasn't the case before. And research, as far as I know, indicates that women are much more prone to having this kind of sexual response where, any kind of sex can turn them on. They're like more naturally bisexual than men, perhaps. So I would say that I think hormones have affected my sexual response, and I can totally imagine someone switching sexual orientation, because, like I said before, sex drive comes at puberty. It's caused by hormones. So is it really impossible to conceive that at puberty, estrogen plays a role in activating a woman's sex drive, and testosterone plays a role in activating a man's sex drive? And it's possible that when you take estrogen, it would activate a different sexual response in your brain. I think it's possible. Okay, so another question now. Well, somebody's basically telling me that she started hormones and her sex drive increased, and she's wondering why this is the case. She says she didn't have much sex drive before hormones, and now she has a raging sex drive. Okay, so typically when people start hormones, they say it reduces their sex drive. This has been the case with me on previous other anti-androgens like spironolactone and androcure. I had the experience of having a very high sex drive before hormones, and then I took this anti-androgen, and my sex drive went down to 5%, maybe less of what it was before, because it completely annihilated my testosterone levels. Yet I do hear sometimes of some transsexuals who say the opposite thing. They never had a sex drive before, but now they have a crazy sex drive. So is that true? And why is this the case? Well, I do think it's true. I know a transsexual that's like this personally, who has a very high sex drive since she started estrogen. I've heard of similar cases before, and I don't think these people have any reason to be lying about this, so I think they're telling the truth. But I have to say, sex drive is very poorly understood. We know it happens, but we don't really know what's causing it. The dominant theory right now, I think, is that sex drive is caused by testosterone. So, as most of you know, I hope, women also have testosterone. They have about 10% of what men have on average. So they have a sex drive that would possibly also be caused by testosterone. There's also been studies where they have injected women with testosterone and found that their sex drive went higher than it was before. That being said, I do believe there are some women out there whose sex drive is controlled by estrogen. Not everybody's body works the same way in regards to hormones. I know, for example, that there's a medication like Avodart or Proscar, which blocks DHT, which is a derivative of testosterone in men. And this medication is intended at stopping balding. Unfortunately, it doesn't work for everybody. Some people take it and it does reduce their DHT, but they still lose hair. And some people, they take it and it reduces their acne, but some people take it and it makes their acne go crazy. Their body has the reaction of producing more testosterone. Why is this? Well, it seems to me that not everybody's body has the same chemistry. Not everybody reacts the same way to the same hormones. And sexually speaking, it's entirely possible that some women react to testosterone and that's what's causing their sex drive. And it's possible that some other women, sex drive is entirely controlled by estrogen or a combination of both. So it's possible that in some people have an estrogen driven sex drive and that they never had any before because they didn't really have much estrogen before getting on hormones, but their brain reacts to the estrogen when they start their hormonal treatment, and then their sex drive, begins really existing for real. And as you know, male to female transsexuals take very high levels of estrogen, so that would cause you to have a sex drive possibly higher than the women in your family would have. So that is my answer to that question. Like I said, human sex drive is not fully understood. We don't really know which hormones cause it, but I think it's possible that not everybody reacts the same way to hormones. And if you have a really high sex drive, you find it really annoying, I would say the only way to reduce it, if it poses you a problem, would be to reduce the amount of estrogen you're taking. But, if you enjoy having a high sex drive, then, there's nothing wrong with that, I don't think. Okay, so the last question for today. Somebody is saying, I am 5'7", 195 pounds, and I have some pre-hormone breast growth, and I want to know how big my breast will get when I start hormones. This is also another common question asked by people who start estrogen treatment or who are about to start. The answer is, I can't tell you. It's just like genetic women. You have a little girl and she's just starting puberty. You don't know how big her breasts will get at the end of puberty. It's impossible to know. She has a unique genetic makeup and she has a unique life experience. The things that she eats, how she's feeding and everything, her hormones levels can affect that, and the amount of fat that she takes, because breasts are largely made out of fat. So we can't really answer you. Some people have been saying, if you want to know how big your breasts will get, you should look at the females in your family, and you'll get about one less cup size. That doesn't always work out. It's not always true. You might end up slightly bigger than that, smaller than that. Some transsexuals actually end up with huge breasts. As a general rule, the later you start hormone treatment in your life, the smaller your breasts will be, the less reaction you'll have to the estrogen in that regard, but it's not always true. Transsexuals do have smaller breasts than genetic women on average, mostly because they start hormones in general after puberty. Puberty is the moment where you're most sensitive to estrogen, so if you were lucky enough to start hormones very young, then maybe you've got some very satisfactory growth. But otherwise, you kind of have to deal with the card you're dealt. That being said, there are things you can do to maximize your breast growth. That is getting maybe injectable estrogens. And once you've been on hormones for a while, you can get progesterone. Research indicates that progesterone is necessary to complete the maturation of your breasts. So if you take estrogen and your breast growth starts stalling, then maybe you can start taking progesterone. Some people have also suggested that you can cycle your estrogen intake if your hormones are stalling. There's a theory that if you have a constant amount of estrogen in your blood, then your estrogen receptors will get saturated, and that to unsaturate them you need to simulate a menstrual cycle, which you can do by taking a certain amount of estrogen and then cutting the dose in half every 2 weeks, and then going back to your very high dose and then a much lower dose, and an alternation like that. And apparently some people have succeeded at getting more development by doing that. Also, I have a transsexual friend I won't name who is not very happy with her breast growth, but she just doesn't eat much. She's extremely skinny, and like I just said, breasts are made mostly out of fat. So if you are extremely skinny, chances are you won't have enough breasts because your body won't have any fat to accumulate in there. So please try to eat reasonably, you know. I don't think your weight should be what matters. What matters should be when you look at yourself in the mirror, do you look healthy, you know? If your bones are sticking out, it's probably not good. You should probably eat a little more, you know. And that's it. Make sure you have enough fat in your diet, not too little. And yeah, just get on the hormones and wait it out. I'm going to add to this that if you're considering getting breast implants, you probably should wait until you've been at least a year or two on the hormones, because if you get breast implants when you have very little breast growth, it's going to look very fake. It's going to be pretty obvious that you have implants once you take your shirt off. So if you want to have natural looking breasts, please by all means try to get as much natural growth as you can get from the hormones. Personally, I don't really like the idea of getting implants because as far as I know, they have to be replaced every couple of years, like every 10 years. This means you pay $6,000 to get breast implants, and then after 10 years you have to do it again, 10 years later again, and again, and again. I personally would like to get as much natural growth as I can get from the hormones, and you know, I'm just thinking, as soon as I can just have enough breasts to have cleavage, you know, using like a push-up bra, I can just get a bra with padding if I'm not satisfied with the size, you know. Nobody really needs to know your real breast size except, you know, the person or persons that you are sleeping with. So, you know, maybe you shouldn't pay that much importance to breast size, so long as you have something that's sufficient to create cleavage, you know, that's all it will take to convince people that you're a woman, I think. So that's it for today. If you have any more questions, by all means, send me a message on YouTube, you know, just put QA in the subject line. And I'd like to do another of those QA sessions at another point, you know, if I can answer your questions about hormones, about transition, about sex, you know, it'll be my pleasure. So that's it for today, and have a nice week, have a nice back to school or back to work. Goodbye.